dollar getting rejected from this short-term move does look positive for the crypto market, because this is an hourly chart where we are watching that it is making a double top and getting rejected. On a 4-hour chart, it does look like it retested that range. We broke below, we went back up, we retested that level, and now we are getting rejected. That is a bullish stance, because on a weekly, you are now getting a hanging man pattern. That's again something great to look at on the macro side of it. On the fundamentals, yes, you are seeing things evolve pretty quickly. The way Brad is talking, remember the actual talk was for 6 months of this year. Right now, he's optimistic in that point, but he's still like, okay, at least this year. So in terms of time, that can be a bleeding factor for XRP holders. So understanding the major narrative of CBDCs, how things are evolving with different central banks, and knowing what the macroeconomics look like does help. Because, going into things like this, saying, we assume, now, even though they have put that in the drawbacks, you need to understand what it is. The entire world's value will be collateralized on the XRP ledger. And that's why they get $500,000 per XRP. And when they use XRP adjusted discount rate, and I'm literally like, okay, if you're actually discounting an asset to get the price, what you're doing is discounting the future cash flow to get the current price. And we really don't have any future cash flow, first of all, which we can know for sure. But one thing you have to keep in mind is CBDCs are not only running on the XRP ledger. Majority of them are working with a lot of different projects too. Hydra is one of the big competitor out there. XLM is getting attention too. So you have multiple people working on this space, including Ether. So we are XRP holders. We are kind of XRP maximalist, but we have our cognitive ability. Ripple executives themselves have told us this. We are now focusing more on smaller central banks because their payment cross-border friction is much higher than the bigger ones. And their target is cross-border payments. So it does make sense. Now, if you take that idea and come here, you're not looking at all the big central banks to be building on XRP ledger, right? So the entire world's asset being tokenized and then being put onto XRP ledger, which is, collateralized in that, does seem like your imagination is now going wild. Now, everyone will have their own opinion. This is mine. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, when we are looking at the market, it does seem like, okay, we are not moving much. We are sideways. We are not actually doing pretty big things, right? So when we actually understand that on the other end, dollar is showing you some weakness, reaching this level, which is a resistance, which we have actually talked about pretty much last couple of weeks when we were talking about this level of resistance. Now we got there and we are getting rejected, which is a good thing for us because right now we are watching this and we really want to see this dropping below 104 so that we get a continuation pattern. So what that means for dollar is like this. You literally drop here. The RSI is showing you the possibility like this. And if you are breaking to the downside, now you have a long way, which kind of gives you more edge on the market side of things. So you can literally say like, okay, yes, we were trending to the downside. We had a little bit of correction. Now we are going back down. If that's the case, it's good. But on the macro side of things, if this news is coming similar in US, that means the central bank has more room, or they will make some more room to kill the economy. Basically, kick you out of the job, push you to that edge where you have to pay higher mortgage, higher loan, so you can't purchase anything other in the economy. So the inflation go down. Now that's a bad type of equation, but that's how things are created. That's how the system works. Now, keeping that in mind, understanding, okay, the macro is like that. Short term, we do have a possibility dollar drops. Now we are here looking at the crypto market. So if crypto as a whole, and we are looking at Bitcoin here, can correct back down to this level, that's going to be like, 21,700. We have already visited that level, recently, right? So it's not that big of a matter. But what we have to keep in mind is that if we are doing this, we really have to understand how things are going to evolve from this point onwards. Otherwise, we will be missing a lot of different things. See, there's the altcoin market. We are right now at a resistance which we have not yet broken to the upside. We are trying to do that. We are putting in higher lows, but we have not yet broken that level to the upside. So that being said, when we come back and look at the Bitcoin, what we are kind of observing right now is a possible market movement where it is showing you like, okay, we corrected back down. We did a little bit of consolidation in this range. We may actually come back down. Now, if that's happening, the major thing we have to keep on our mind is that we do have supports which we are going to look at, but the major support resistance zone comes a little bit down here, 22,500, right? The price came close to that range last time, but we didn't exactly touch that point. So the price coming down to 22,500, flagging that range is going to be one of the bullish things which we can anticipate in the market, but we didn't get that yet. We are still waiting for that, which means the price can still come back lower and, play a little bit with the emotions of the investors out here. Same with XRP right now, as we discussed, if we are breaking this to the downside, now we have some room. Yeah, you do have short-term supports, but most likely if you're breaking this pattern, then you may not respect the short-term support. Instead, you may actually go back down to 0.33, which in XRP is not a great thing to watch because we've been bleeding for a long period of time. So now we come back here, look at the dollar scenario worth of Bitcoin. So now when you are looking at Bitcoin, we just see like, okay, the most recent candle just dropped to 22,000. That does look a lot scary because as soon as I was starting to make the video, we didn't get that. We were talking about, okay, there is a possibility of dropping. And right now when we are making this video, we are observing that's playing out. If you remember, we just talked about a scenario where you consolidate, you drop to this level. Now, we did drop to that level, $22,000. That's a long way to the downside. That's a lot of volatility. Now, with this giant red candle to the downside in Bitcoin, what happened is XRP just broke to the downside. If you remember, we were just talking through this and saying, okay, if we are here and breaking this, most likely this short-term support will find it hard to hold on to that. Right now, we are breaking through that level too. So for XRP, the major next level of support is going to be 0.33. At the same time, we are looking for Bitcoin and the fluctuation there. We do see we broke through this level of resistance, turned into support, and now reaching the next level. Now, if we go look at Bitcoin and its recent past, 5% to the downside has been the biggest drop. Now, yeah, if we go back to the Luna crash or the FTX crash, we'll see way bigger red candles. But right now in the news and narrative, we don't have anything right now. And the price has already dropped 5%, reaching this level of support, which actually makes kind of sense. Last time, you had this 5% candle to the downside, followed by another small red candle or the bear candle, reaching the level of support before the market decides to consolidate and bounce back up. But here, what we are looking for is, as we just talked, you come down, you consolidate, you go down to the next level of support before you consolidate there and then go back up. That's what we really want to see. So on the short-term charts here for Bitcoin right now, this is an hourly candle showing you that we broke to the downside, acting wildly like this. Which if we look on a weekly side of it, we'll actually see like, okay, we are still here. I think we talked about this yesterday or earlier today in this video, saying this is going to be the maximum big level of support, which we anticipate the price to come down to. So 22,500, That's broken 22,300. We are at that point now. After this, we only have a major support at 21,800. Now, it doesn't actually look too far from where the price is now. So even if this week closes like this and the next week consolidate to touch this range, it's not actually going to be so worst in that case, right? If we reach this level of support and consolidate here, what matters is that we bounce back up. That's going to be the hardest point in the market. We'll have to follow the price in a way we understand what it's actually doing right now. The panic in the market is going to be heavy. We just talked about the scenario, right? If similar news and narrative is going to come in the macro side of events in US, that is going to push the fear of the Fed going and doing another hike, which can be 30, 40, 50 basis points. But right now, when we look at the dollar and the dollar is still holding like this, I'm like, okay, panic in the crypto market is not new. We have seen this before. And if dollar is not breaking this to the upside and we are getting rejected there, yeah, the hope is still there. The market will actually bounce.